Hello everyone, hello. Welcome back to the channel. How are everyone today? 2 live streams in a week. I know, what are we thinking here on Indy Fanatics? It's pretty crazy on a kind of a nice winter's day here in the UK. Has to be said, but we were meant to do a podcast episode, and it was a very good podcast episode. But when we recorded it, the camera didn't record properly. So essentially that's been pushed back a week, and we weren't sure what to put in, and luckily Ed Carpenter decided to jump in today and announce that Conor Daly will be riding full time in the number 20 car for the 2022 season, and he will be for the first time since 2017. Now, as always, let me tweet out at the start of this live stream. Go from there. Hi from Spain. Hi Tyrrell. How are you doing? Hope you're good. But yeah, let me make sure I tweet to let everyone know that I go. I know I just kind of spring these live streams on people and just go, are you here? Cool, let's go. So that's pretty much where we've gone from that front. But yeah, it's just basically to talk through. I'll wait for some more people to go. It is great for Conor, absolutely. I tell you what, for those of you who are in chat at the moment, what's just as we kind of allow it to go, and then we'll jump into it. What do we think? Obviously, guys linked with that number 20 car were Ryan Hunter Rae when it was the US Air Force, even to the extent I think he was in the overalls. I think he was initially the main guy to be linked for. Maybe Jack Aitken was, I think, linked to the seat at one point. A kind of experienced guy within the European racing scene, and highest level he's done is racing in Formula 2 and also being the Williams test driver. But yeah, Conor Daly, Indianapolis-based team with Ed Carpenter, Indianapolis-born driver, led his kind of first laps of the Indy 500 this year, well, last year in 2021. I think as a PR basis, it's a great move, but it's so nice for Conor to kind of get this full-time drive. For the first one since 2017. Obviously, a lot of people have been like, well, he's been driving for Ed Carpenter anyway. He hasn't been driving the ovals. Yes, he's been doing the Indy 500 for Ed Carpenter, but I guess people haven't necessarily noticed too much the difference if you weren't paying particular attention, because it's been, well, very few ovals in 2020 and 2021 that he's driven with Carlin. But yes, this is exciting. I'm not sure if it's he rides the number 20. I presume Ed Carpenter will still run the ovals and the 500, whether he still takes the 20 or whether he's going to don a new number now that it goes from there. But yeah, the first time the 20 car has had a single driver in how many years? Absolutely no idea. I presume it would have been the last time from when Ed was running full time within the series, which, yeah, I can't remember how long it's gone from there. But let's see. I'll jump on and see how we're doing chat wise. I think we're going to awesome to see Daly back. Need some traditional drivers: Daly, Newgarden, Rossi, Power, Elio, etc. to go with the new blood. Yeah, absolutely, Chris. I agree. 2010, 2011. Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember. We'll try and figure it out. We can always go on the ever reliable Wikipedia if not, but let me jump on. Let me see if I've got it all set up for us. No, so we'll jump on to Ed Carpenter Racing there, and let's jump across. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see that now. So here's obviously the official press release from Ed Carpenter. It's welcoming BitNite. So BitNite Holdings Incorporated. It seems like it's in some form of cryptocurrency from what I go, including, it's disruptive technologies. I have no idea what disruptive technologies are, so if anyone can tell me what disruptive technologies are in chat, go from there. But with the cryptocurrencies, obviously, at the Indy 500, wasn't it, that Renus VK had that Bitcoin car and livery with the kind of black with the orange polka dots from memory. Interesting there. But yeah, Conor looking great in his new overalls. But yes, important thing here, well, it's a North American company. They're interested in their companies in the Midwest, which obviously is where Indianapolis is. In particular, their mining facilities that they have there. Milton Todd Alt, the third, I believe that is. Basically, he's got an entire career of investing, been a fan of IndyCar, and so Ed Carpenter's leap, which makes you always have to, as a businessman, have things. So obviously losing the US Air Force was big for Ed Carpenter, but clearly they must have had kind of some hints that may have been going, because you don't get like a big deal like this just out of nowhere. I imagine this has had some months of planning before they decided they were going to announce this. What was an interest? Well, it's a multi-year deal, I think, somewhere within here, which is good. Obviously, it secures the future with Ed Carpenter going for there, and it will be shared part sponsorship on VK's 21 car as well. Obviously, the main sponsor of VK has been Jumbo, obviously bringing across his Dutch sponsorship on that front. But yeah, it goes from there. Hello, Daniel, in chat. Are we now in crypto racing boom? Maybe, Taurus. Maybe. Should IndyCar branch out to international areas as NASCAR continues to dominate the US attendance-wise? Potentially, but I know logistics-wise and cost-wise, which is the big attraction for IndyCar and attracting new teams and expanding teams at the moment. Logistics-wise of going international outside the US suddenly increases those costs for teams quite a bit and goes from there. Disruptive technology is a marketing term which basically means new technologies. Cool. All right. But yeah, hope everyone's okay in chat. Thank you for everyone who's jumping in there. But yeah, interesting that it's a multi-year deal. That doesn't necessarily mean that Conor Daly has a multi-year deal. I would assume they don't necessarily specific there. I presume it's just multi-year deal with the sponsor, and Conor Daly will still be performance-based. Obviously, if he has a bad season or they think they have a better option, they can replace Conor and go from there. But hopefully Conor, with the security of having a full-time drive for the first time since 2017 and not having to worry about sponsors or not having to worry about whether he's going to be able to run full-time, this is all sorted, done before the season started, because if you remember, it was expected for him to run ovals for Carlin last year, but it wasn't confirmed until during the season, so that must be a little bit of stress of going from there. But he had a stronger second half of the season than Rinus VK, who we know kind of dropped off a little bit the cliff. But I think drivers always perform better when they have job security. I don't think you're going to get much more job security than this for Conor Daly, which is really fantastic to see him doing well. And it seems really, I don't know whether his 500 performance would have been the rewards, because obviously he was hit by that flailing tyre off Graham Rahal's car, which affected his race and damaged the area on it. But up until that point had been going very well. So very, very impressive from there. But yeah, I suppose going down here, looking at the livery, it's a nice livery, has to be said. I'm a fan of the colours in the livery, giving me a little bit of Jimmy Johnson vibes. Does anyone see a bit of the Carvana livery in that? Hello, David G. Welcome to the chat. But that's not Max Chilton. But this announcing, technically, Dan, is, I think, means that, well, Juncos looked like they were running that second car, which to me suggests they were looking for an experienced guy to help Max Chilton on, Callum Ilott on, maybe with Conor Daly signing for Ed Carpenter full time, and no other real drivers I've seen linked to Juncos, and I don't think they would be able to afford someone like a Hunter Rae. So yeah, I think this probably opens up the opportunity for Max Chilton to stay on with Carlin Juncos or whatever goes from there. IndyCar should go back to Brands Hatch like Champ Car did in 2003. I mean, Brands Hatch is my local track, so I am not going to turn down that whatsoever if IndyCar decide to come to Brands Hatch. I would absolutely love it. And I think rather than going on the Indy course there at Brands Hatch and they just ran the full circuit, I think that would be awesome to see Indy cars going around there. I think the most recent single seaters I've seen there is the W Series in 2019, I want to say. I feel 2019 because they cancelled in 2020 and go from there. The hometown boy might still be an IndyCar. He might be. I haven't really heard any rumours about it, but yeah, that Junko's second car is quite, and I presume actually the last official / unofficial seat to be announced. But yeah, what are people's thoughts on the livery? Are they a fan of the livery? Like I said, can you see any of those kind of Carvana vibes in it? Kind of hometown boy. Daniel in chat, nice to hear. We've got to respect it. I wonder what Max is doing. Well, his Instagram is, I suppose you can just pop on his Instagram. He's quite active over on Instagram. Is Max, never with any racing stuff, always with stuff with his girlfriend Chloe, I think she is, from memory. Go from there. But yeah, BitNite Holdings headquarters are located at 11411 Southern Highlands Parkway, Las Vegas. Oh, okay, Vegas. Wow. We'll be gambling. Maybe we'll see a return to gambling. Hey, Gianni, go from there. Oh, damn. All right, livery. I like the blue and gold. So mixed ones on the livery. Mixed ones. Not kind of wowed, it would seem like there, but you know, a fan of it, has to be said for sure. But yeah, Conor Daly, how does he really go on from here? What would classify as a good season for Conor Daly now that he's got this full-time drive? It's an interesting one. What would classify as a good season for Conor Daly? I presume would be to be regularly competitive with Rinus VeeKay when VeeKay is on it, because obviously we know for whatever reason, whether it was confidence, whether it was just off the boil or whatever, and obviously the collision that he was in at Gateway with Alex Palou and Scott Dixon as well didn't do Rinus VeeKay any favours in the latter part of the season. But I suppose competing with Rinus more on a regular basis, but Rinus could be one of those special talents because, you know, in his rookie season, securing that first pole position, secured his first win at the IMS road course in 2021. You know, is Conor capable of doing that? Or is it really just a guy who's going to look to run strong at the Indy 500 and might be the first Indianapolis-born winner since, I believe, Wilbur Shaw. I think that's correct with me saying go from there. A podium, potentially go from there. Top 10. Just a top 10 or several top 10s, go from there. It must have been awkward for Daly being between two teams. I think so, although they weren't necessarily direct competitors, go from there. I just signed in for the RB18 launch. Nice, Gianni. Teams probably held off on giving him info and data. Potentially, I'm not sure. Maybe. Yeah, it's difficult. Potentially. You never felt like he was fully in it, Ed Carpenter. So now all his chips are in the Ed Carpenter basket. So, I feel like there'll be more backing and it'll be a more cohesive effort with two drivers. And obviously they know exactly what they're getting from Conor, what they've got from him in the road and street courses in the past couple of seasons. VK! Hello, Lucas. Welcome to the chat. He will do well on the ovals. I think so. Obviously, he secured his first pole position and Carlin's first pole position in 2020 at, was it Gateway or was it Iowa? Good question. But yeah, that was obviously on an oval performance, and obviously he looked strong at the Indianapolis 500 last year. He'll be hoping leading the most laps actually across the entirety of the race. So fantastic for him. But He'll want to go further. He'll want to win. In before Conor wins the 500 this year. There you go. I hope we see him on the podium somewhere. Carpenter Racing normally all right on ovals, or am I tripping? Nope, Gary, you are more than okay. I think that's a fair statement to say that Ed Carpenter is strong on ovals, especially go for an Air Taris Ira, I think. Hello, Lucas. I meant top 10 in the championship. Top 10 in the championship. Now that is a bold move. I would say top 15 for Conor Daly would be good. Top 10. There are a lot of talented guys. I know we're losing one Penske car, but I'd expect at least 2 Chip Ganassi guys to be in the top 10 in Dixon and Palou. At least 2 Penske guys in Power and Newgarden, and potentially Scott McLaughlin as well. That's already 5. Then you're going to have Pato guaranteed in the top 10. Herter guaranteed in the top 10 for me. And then it's whether Rossi and there's so many guys that can fit into that top 10. And Ed Carpenter Racing are a strong team. Absolutely. They've been regulars within the series. They're a good, strong, solid outfit. And when VK is on it, I would say VK could potentially get a top 10. I would back VK a top 10 more than Conor Daly. I'm not sure. I would say if Conor Daly gets in the top 10, he has had a great season rather than a good season. Go from now. Just joined the stream. Big news. Hi, Joe. It was big news. I suppose, reading back at David Land's tweet of saying it was going to be a popular one. Very popular, I would say. Conor is obviously, an American driver. He's a great personality. He's full of life. His mullet this year was a funny addition, certainly to the start of the season. Go from there, but he always tries his hardest. He's a talented guy. He just hasn't quite got it all together, that consistency. But he has been seen to be capable of some very strong performances within the series, and now with that extra experience on his belt and extra experience under his belt and going full time, I think this is our best chance probably to see what Conor can do. I would argue this probably has to be Conor Daly's best season in IndyCar to date for him to continue full time beyond this year. And go from there. 2 MSR guys in the top 10. I'm not sure Elio has it in him to be top 10. Pagano definitely has it in him to be top 10 over the course of the season. I'd expect Elio to be strong on the ovals and the Indy 500 again, but I'm not sure I'd classify him over. Go from there. Will Ed drive the other ovals as well, or just the 500? Very good question. It didn't necessarily specify. Go from there. Interesting ones for you who want to be paying attention to them. This paragraph here. Always eager to hone his driving talents. Daly returns to dirt track racing this weekend. He's riding the Chili Bowl. That was, I think, something we kind of mentioned in the news on Wednesday. If not, that's obviously one of the famous. I think, wasn't it? Larson won it last year, I'm pretty sure. But next Wednesday, January the 19th, Daly and Carpenter will be guests on Mr. Holt's podcast. I presume just a PR one, but it'll be interesting to see how Daly goes on there. That will be at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. From the Ed Carpenter shop on YouTube. I presume that's their channel. I don't know if there's a link necessarily in that from there. But yes. So excited for 2022. Wonder if Christian can have some good performances. Lundgaard definitely Lundgaard can have some strong performances. I think you just see how he hit the ground running in his qualifying performance, coming in P4, that second race at the Indy GP. Obviously fell away in the race. I think I saw something going that he was really excited for the season, even though he still has no idea how to improve the car. or something along those lines we go. Is it St. Pete yet? Hello, Carter. Welcome to the chat. Good to see you in there. Can't wait for the 22 season to get going. We've got really strong rookie class for the upcoming season. Yes, we do. And nearer the season, me and Stephen will do a feature video, go meet the rookies, and we'll look in the rookies in a little bit more detail and give a breakdown for all of you guys out there who don't know much about the rookie drivers, and just kind of give like more of a cohesive effort on that front. But yes, sorry, to confirm why it's a live stream today and it's just me again rather than a podcast, me and Stephen did record I think a very good, I was excited. So the podcast episode was meant to be who will have the best sophomore year between Jimmy Johnson, Roman Grosjean and Scott McLaughlin. And we did I think about a half-hour video, and then it got to the end and then realised that the camera hadn't been recording. But Stephen, it's difficult, only has certain amounts of time to kind of film within his lunch breaks at the moment from working at home, and we weren't able to have enough time to film. So we will be doing that video for next week. So look out for that one. It should be a good video, and we're excited to kind of hear your thoughts on that. But yeah, there'll be another news live stream. So that's why you got a bonus live stream today rather than it being a podcast episode at the usual time. Ed Carpenter Racing must improve strategy and pit stops if they want to become the best of the rest, which I think they can. I mean, yeah, they've got the problem with Ed Carpenter Racing. This is obviously big financial backing and a good sponsor for BitNite to kind of fully sponsor one car and partly sponsor the 21, or be a co-sponsor on the 21 car as well. But let me just jump into normal intro screen. Oh, that was it. We'll try and work out on Wikipedia last time when the last full-time season was for there. David Xavier, hi David, welcome to the chat. Good to see you over here. We'll try and get, I know obviously you're regular on the F1 Fanatics live streams. We'll try and get an F1 Fanatic live stream out there soon. But yeah. We were talking about Ed Carpenter Racing to be best of the rest. I think it's going to be difficult for them to compete with Rahal, Lettman Lanigan and Arrow McLaren SP. For me, they have much more solidified backing. They seem in a much better financial position. Arguably, they've got the better drivers, although Rinus VK is a wild card. He can go from there. So does this news today mean Ryan Hunter Rae's finished? We'll come on to that. Where was I talking about? Yeah, best of the rest for Ed Carpenter Racing. I think they've got a big one. I think Rinus VK has potential to maybe beat all of, if not some of the Rahal, Lettman Lanigan and Arrow McLaren SP drivers in the championship, but I would be surprised if as a collective team we would say they've had a better season than RLL and Arrow McLaren SP. So Joe, I like Conor, but I don't think he is what it takes over a whole season. Any given race, I'd say a top 5 or top 10 is possible. Yeah, I think it's a really big season for Conor. This is Ed Carpenter. I think there was no secret about it. With the US Air Force, they wanted an American driver, and with that backing, it did look like Ryan Hunter Rae was going to be the guy driving the number 20. That is unconfirmed, but it looked like there were even some photo shoots of Ryan Hunter Rae in the overalls, and I believe he did some testing. It's been a while. You know, when we had all those tests when Stoffel Van Dorn was in the car, Nick De Vries, and plenty of those kind of testing the cars. Who else tested? Nico Hulkenberg. That was a very interesting time seeing all those guys jump in. So I think, and someone asked, is Ryan Hunter Rae finished? I think he's going to definitely run the 500. I don't know who he'd run the 500 with, whether Andretti run a 5th/6th car for him, because I presume Marco will want to run the 500 again and go from there. But I think this is Ryan Hunter Rae finished full time. That's what I imagine. I can't see any other openings that go. I thought it was Ed Carpenter Racing And that was pretty much it. Can't wait for both F1 and IndyCar and 2022 seasons. Absolutely, Gianni. Hopefully they're both going to be great. Who's your Rookie of the Year with this talented group? Well, from the predictions, Don, I would say it's Kyle Kirkwood. I know that's bold. Christian Lundgaard arguably has the best machinery alongside Devlin DeFrancesco. Maluka, Kirkwood, obviously in lower teams traditionally in the championship, in Dale Coyne and AJ Foyt Racing respectively, and Callum Ilott in Juncos. It will be difficult to judge. They'll just be kind of looking at data and be building on a strong first full-time season. I don't think he'll have the machinery to compete for it. I went for Kyle Kirkwood just because arguably I think he's the most talented out of the lot. I think what he's done on the road to Indy ladder has been pretty damn impressive, has to be said. Very impressive road to Indy. You know, the guy isn't financially backed. In most worlds, Kyle Kirkwood doesn't get to being a full-time professional racing driver. But because of the Road to Indy program, and if you win the championship, you get to progress up the ladder. That is what Kyle Kirkwood did. He won at every stage of the Road to Indy ladder, and including winning the 2021 Indy Lights Championship. For some reason, I just think he's going to do it. You know, Sebastian Bourdais showed there was pace in that number 14 car as well, if they get it right. Engineer is going to be the interesting one. Malukas is... I think he will struggle to find his feet, although he has a very good experienced partner in Takuma Sato to help him learn from. The other one outside is Christian Lundgaard, probably. He probably is the most one from there. Aitken is still interested in a ride, it seems. I'm sure he is interested, but I'm not sure where he would go unless it is with that Carlin Juncos entry. But I think they wanted, if they are going to run a second full-time car, as it looked like they got the kind of machinery off Carlin in that merger that was seen around about November time, I think it was. They were looking for a guy who was experienced within the series, so Aitken doesn't fit that mould. And unless Aitken can find a massive sponsor, I don't think he's going to be in something like that third McLaren car for road and street courses. That maybe is an option if he somehow find a huge amount to go from there. Chevy has had the better engines the last few years. I don't know. Can you say that? Honda has won the last 2 Indy 500s. It's won the last 2 championships. Chevy's been good with Ed Carpenter, especially at the Indianapolis 500. They looked very quick. Obviously, Rinus VeeKay being on the front row, and Ed Carpenter was in the second row of the race. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that Chevy has had the better engines over the last couple of seasons. Love the dark blue and gold. The brighter blue doesn't thrill me, but these are BitNile's brand colours. Exactly. So I have to go from there. But yeah, does anyone, is it just me? But I saw a lot of kind of just, you know, obviously you switch out the gold for yellow and it's looking a lot like the Carvana Jimmy Johnson livery for me. And obviously he goes through multiple liveries a season with the kind of Carvana. Has there been a more kind of activating sponsor than Carvana in IndyCar? Than Carvana in IndyCar, because they have been hammering Tom. Especially the start of the season, we were just running round on the Carvana car with Jimmy Johnson at the back, which I felt was cruel, just so we could get more chance of mentioning Carvana in the kind of broadcast. But yeah, don't count out Ilott. I wouldn't. I think Ilott's very good. I think qualifying, go from there. I'm very excited to see how he does. My only big problem with Ilott was, if people who watch this on the F1, I was very vocal going, a lot of people said Callum Ilott deserved a seat in F1. And, you know, he's talented. Very talented indeed. My problem was with the word deserved, because there's a lot of drivers who deserve, and he didn't go on to win the championship. It's a tough ask. but that's what you need to be able to get done and win the championship. But there is no doubt that Callum Ilott is an extremely talented driver and is a bit of a... is smart work from IndyCar picking him up on the driver, because Callum Ilott does have the potential that if it clicks in that consistency in race championship form, you could be talking about him as joining up with those guys, with the likes of the Patos, Herters, Palos, VKs. He has the talent probably to match and be up there with those guys, but it's just, yeah, he's probably got to do a Roman Grosjean and impress with Juncos before getting... Obviously, Grosjean did it with Delco Racing before going on there. Malukas has the better teammate than Kirkwood, absolutely. Keller is still relatively inexperienced and young himself. It's only his second full-time season, and obviously, you know, in the last few seasons, Takuma Sato has really started to find his oval form, which I think is going to be huge help for Malukas for sure. I'm hoping Malukas surprises some people. I think he's very good. I'm not sure if too many... I think if you know about Malukas, you're not sleeping on him. You know that he's a very good driver. And, you know, he ran Kirkwood close for that Indy Lights Championship. Well backed as well with, I believe his dad owns HMD. Is it HMD Sports? Is it some sort of sports company? It's HMD. That's the backing anyways. His dad owned company is kind of helping Malukas through the system financially at least. But yeah, definitely watch out for Malukas. He is... We're lucky in IndyCar that we just seem to have this constant stream of talent coming through from Indy Lights. We've had Pato, we've had Colton Herter, we've had Renus VK come through. Now we've got Kirkwood and Malukas. You know, the future, obviously you've got guys at the tail end of their careers who are running full time at the moment in Elio Castro Neves, Scott Dixon, Will Power, Simon Pagino. You know, those guys aren't going to be out there forever, and the next crop of generation coming in are looking super talented, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down, to be honest with you. Go to HMD is a trucking company. Awesome. Okay, cheers for clearing that up in chat. But yes, that's the one that's kind of helping sponsor. But yeah, any general more thoughts on Conor Daly or on... obviously we've spoken a bit about the rookies. Like we said, we'll do a video, go and meet the rookies later on as we're going about lorrying. yeah, lorrying company. I guess trucking company. Lorrying company wouldn't work, would it? On that basis. Also, I suppose another bit of news before we round things off. Obviously it was meant to be a bit of a shorter stream today. Qualifying will stay the same. I believe a Marshall Pruitt article, you can look on Twitter. Maybe I can get the article and share it in chat with you guys on the live stream. But yes, the qualifying system will stay the same. They were thinking of dividing the initial one into 3 groups because there was a fear of the track becoming overcrowded with a potential grid getting to 26 to 28, but the full-time grid looks like it's going to be around about 25 cars. So let's copy this link. So yeah, they're deciding to stick with the traditional qualifying format. Let me just paste that in chat for you. So yeah, anyone interested in the article, that is Marshall Pruitt going through the qualifying, but basically the summary of it is that qualifying will stay the same, which is the grid gets split into groups of 2. They will then, the fastest 6 from those groups will then go to the fast 12. This is obviously in road and street courses. And then from that fast 12, the top 6 go through to the fast 6. And then obviously pole position is decided out of that fast 6. On ovals, I believe it's done in reverse championship order. They get a warm-up lap and then 2 laps to set their fastest time. But yes, nothing shall change from that. Obviously, it was the only road and street courses one that was a potential risk of changing. Hopefully I just explained that for you, Gianni, and how the IndyCar qualifying system works. Who has a better season, Lundgaard or Eilert? Difficult to judge because they're going to be at such opposite ends of the spectrum. But me, like a lot of people, I think, are having really good feelings about Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan going into the season. So I'm going to say Lundgaard is going to have the better season. Go from there. Sad that Hinkos is temporarily leaving Indy Lights. It is sad, but I guess it was with... They've got to focus full on this IndyCar effort. And if they are immediately going to 2 cars with that merger with Carlin, like I said, there hasn't really been much to it, and there hasn't really been much of any driver talk around it either. So I presume that's just where they're focusing all their efforts. But I imagine their long-term goal, because obviously they've been a really good team within Indy Lights. And they were obviously part of Karl Kaiser, was it? Who famously knocked out Fernando Alonso in the Indy 500 bump day in 2019. But yeah, that's that was their last time they did an Indy 500 entry. But it's interesting that I believe he was running for them in the Indy Lights. That's where the partnership had come from. But yes, fingers crossed from there. I'm really happy to see Matty Brabham go back to Indy Lights. Yeah, that is. Like, he keeps his single-seater career alive, and it's with Andretti Autosport. So he's in a pretty good place to be successful. So if he's got the talent to be competitive within Andretti Autosport, he's definitely going to have the machinery and technicians go from there. Karl Kaiser, if Hinkos is going 2 cars, that would be pretty cool for it to be Karl in that car. But I haven't really heard anything. He isn't experienced in running full-time in IndyCar, but who else? I think Max Chilton probably makes the most sense, especially as it's a Carlin merger, so the relationship will be there. He's run in IndyCar since about 2015, 2016. He's run with top teams like Chip Ganassi before he moved to Carlin Racing, so he has a pretty good idea of the series. And being a fellow Brit as well, he can probably help Callum Eilert out. So I would imagine Max Chilton makes the most sense for that second Hinkos seat. But what do I know? I don't know. Go from there. Karl Kaiser is nowhere at the moment. I believe he's just, nowhere in single-seaters. I believe he is potentially in endurance racing. It's a very good question, actually. We can go and let me look up for you guys. Max makes sense. Full English lineup for an Indy Team 2. That's never happened. No, it hasn't, which would be very interesting to see. Right, okay, let's... what were we asking? Where is Karl Kaiser? Good question. Okay, he is... currently not racing from what I can see on a Wikipedia one. He was running part-time with Hinkos in IndyCar from 2018-19, but since COVID, haven't seen him go from there. He's the 2017 Indy Lights champion, like I said, with Hinkos Racing, as it's, like we said, a shame that they're not going to be in Indy Lights. But yeah, Karl Kaiser doesn't look like he is, or no one's said to update his Wikipedia profile. So if anyone else can find anything on there, that'll be interesting. It says financial analyst. So I presume that's what he's working in from now. What else were we trying to work out? We were trying to work out when was the last time Ed Carpenter had a full-time driver in the number 20 seat, because obviously we've got from okay, Let me just pop in chat. Say, yeah, Jack was his granddad. He did LMP3 and IMSA last year. There we go. I thought he would have something like that. But yes, that's decent for him to keep going. But yeah, I imagine that it's pretty difficult to be going full time. And he probably has another job as it goes. Right, okay, let's see the number 20 car. A full-time driver. 2013 looks like the last time that it wasn't shared, as in 2014 it was shared between Mike Conway and Ed Carpenter, with Ed obviously running the ovals and Mike Conway doing the road and street courses. The 21 car obviously has had some full-time drivers with Ed, Joseph Newgarden in 2016, Spencer Pigott in 2018, and then obviously Rinus VeeKay since 2020 has been the full-time driver within that seat. But yeah, no, very interesting. It has been since 2013 when Ed was last full-time in the series. Crazy that it's been that long that they've had a consistent full-time driver. But yeah, I'm not sure what the number situation is going to be, because obviously what number does Conor run at the 500? Is it 52? I want to say 52, but I'm not sure if that's correct. So that kind of feels like the bracket of number that we're in. Feels like someone can correct me in chat if I've got that wrong. But yeah, I'm not sure what the situation is with Ed Carpenter, but I would assume this feels like a pretty big backing from BitNile. So I imagine it allows him to continue running the full oval season. So he'll run Texas, the Iowa doubleheader, Indianapolis and Gateway. So that'll be 4 races. No, there's 5. There are 5 oval races. Why am I getting up? Because Iowa is a double header. That was it. So he should have 5 races this year, but I'm not sure. I believe he ran the 47. There we go. I knew it was in that kind of upper range. But cheers, B-Car Fight. Welcome into the chat. Is he being paid in Bitcoin? No idea. I wonder if Rinus VeeKay got paid his bonus for the Indy 500 in Bitcoin. That would have been fascinating to see. But okay, I think that pretty much covers the news of Conor Daly going full time, unless anyone has any last thoughts on Conor being full time within the series again, or on any of the other news. We'll be back on Wednesday for another live stream, kind of rounding up the news on that aspect. Conor Daly drove the number 47. Cheers, Gianni. Thank you for that, guys, in chat, for correcting me. Don't know where I got 52 from, but at least I was only 5 out. I wasn't like random, I don't know, like 99. But I feel 99 is a memorable number. I would have remembered that. But yes, plan is another live stream next Wednesday. I hope you're enjoying these live streams. It's great having you guys interacting in chat. And go from there. It's good to get your raw reactions to the news as well. Obviously, don't forget to give a thumbs up on the stream if you've enjoyed the stream today and you're subscribing over there. Best year incoming for Conor, in my opinion. Has to be. I think it has to be, with Ed Carpenter putting their faith in him for a full-time drive. It needs to be IndyCar's best. It needs to be Conor's best season in IndyCar for sure, Gary. Thanks for the stream. No problem at all, Taras. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for everyone in chat. It's been brilliant having you along. Go from there. 52 is Cody Ware. There we go. 52 is Cody Ware. Where did I... And 51 was Roman Grosjean, but obviously 51 will be Takuma Sato this year, and I presume 52 will be Malukas. I do enjoy this. It's been a long time. Absolutely, Gianni. I imagine you probably remembered from the F1 days of kind of regular streaming. But yes, I think these streams work well for kind of breaking news, because they're pretty easy to kind of put together. And obviously we can get you guys much more raw reaction to the news. And I suppose not necessarily huge news, because obviously he's been associated with the team before, and not necessarily unexpected. But yeah, it's still news none the same. But yeah, everyone in chat, thank you so much for joining. Hope you all have great days. Look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. I hope you enjoy. I don't think there's any racing on board just of yet. We've got to wait to the end of the month, haven't we, for the Rolex 24 for the first major bit of racing to kind of kick the racing season off. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. Right, everyone, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Wednesday. So for now, you Indy fans, keep